Hello everyone, my name is Adeline Spears, coming to you live here from the AWX Home Weather Studio here in northwestern Georgia. And as you can hear today, we are going to be talking about the trouble in the tropics as we have our first tropical disturbance in the 2024-2025 Atlantic hurricane season. And today we're going to be talking about potential Tropical Cyclone 1, soon to be named Tropical Storm Alberto, and you can see it here just spinning off of the coast of Mexico as it has its sights set on Mexico and Texas within the next couple of days, specifically the eastern coast of Mexico and Texas. And we're going to be talking all about landfall, timing, and the effects here in this AWX home weather video. So buckle up because we've got a lot to talk about, and let's get into the forecasting. So the first thing we're looking at is the National Hurricane Center's graphic, arguably one of the most important ones, the cone of uncertainty. This gives us the idea of the timing and the placement of the landfall and track towards Mexico and Texas. And as you can see, sitting right here in the afternoon to evening hours here on Tuesday, it is still well off of the coast of Mexico, but that's not going to stay that way long as it continues its track west, and we are expecting a landfall sometime in the afternoon, evening, and nighttime hours on Wednesday. So we have a little over 24 hours to go before landfall, and we are expecting it to landfall as Tropical Storm Alberto. But that tropical storm status is not going to last long as it quickly makes landfall on Mexico, moves over the land, and as we know, all tropical systems begin to lose their fuel as they go across land, since it's not still gaining energy from the water, and it will quickly be downgraded to a tropical depression as well. But still, tropical storm, tropical depression, nothing to mess around with. So we're also going to be talking about some safety while encountering these storms if you live in these areas or just on the outskirts, because please keep in mind that even if you're not directly in the path here in this cone of uncertainty, hazardous conditions can still exist well outside of the cone, and this is a great example. We have tropical storm warnings extending well outside of the cone, even getting close, inching up on the Houston metro area as well, which is hundreds of miles from outside of the cone. So definitely another lesson, even if you're not directly in the path of the eye wall of this storm, you can still feel the effects from Tropical Storm Alberto. And we're going to be talking about the main effect right here. Rainfall, specifically excessive rainfall, is going to be a massive issue with this storm. We're not as concerned about the tornadic threat or the wind with Tropical Storm Alberto. The amount of rain that's going to be dumping in these areas is going to be quite the issue. In fact, the Weather Prediction Center has already issued a day 1 and day 2 moderate risk for excessive rainfall for portions of the eastern coast and south central Texas as well. We've got cities like Corpus Christi and San Antonio under this moderate risk as well, so definitely be paying attention if you're in these areas, as streams, creeks, rivers are going to be quickly rising. We may even see some roadway flooding as well. So turn around, don't drown. Always make the smart decision in that situation, and make sure you're staying hyper weather aware when it comes to the rainfall during Tropical Storm Alberto, and that goes for everyone down in Mexico as well. We may not have access to all of these graphics and weather alerts like we do in the United States, but the Weather Prediction Center is doing a fantastic, and the National Hurricane Center is also doing a fantastic job covering Tropical Storm Alberto for the folks there in Texas. And another look, here we've got the specific rainfall totals. This graphic is from National Weather Service Corpus Christi, and they have been releasing tons of very helpful graphics. If you live in their neck of the woods, please be paying lots of attention to their Twitter page, Facebook. Try to stay very tuned in as they're releasing information around the clock on the upcoming tropical storm. And as you can see, these rain totals are nothing to play around with. Down there in Corpus Christi, we've got 8 to 10 inches possible. Same thing for folks up there in Rockport and Port Lavaca. And these heavy rainfall these heavy totals extend well inland. It's not just on the coast like most of the time some of these situations are. We're going to still be seeing widespread totals 6 to 8 inches all the way up, getting towards the San Antonio metro area as well. So this is not just a coastal deal. We are seeing these flooding issues persist well inland with these heavier rain bands as well. So now we're going to wrap it all up with this fantastic graphic. We're looking at the overall threats, the tropical system, the damaging wind, the tornado, the storm surge, and the heavy rain / flooding threat as well. Overall, Tropical Storm Alberto is not going to be very significant. It's probably going to be on the lower end of tropical storm intensity and severity. Wind gusts are probably going to be ranging from about 40 to 60 miles per hour. It's not going to come anywhere close to that Category 1 hurricane status with winds getting above 75 miles per hour. We're not expecting winds to be the main threat. Like I was mentioning before, flooding seems to be the real big issue here with Tropical Storm Alberto, but we cannot disregard these secondary threats as well. Like the tornado threat, it's there, but it's just not very high. In fact, the Storm Prediction Center has recognized that tornado threat while putting out a Day 1 and Day 2 2% tornado threat in the southeastern portions of Texas. So with any tropical disturbance like Alberto, we're always going to have that tornado threat. Sometimes it's more significant than this, but thankfully this time it's remaining pretty low. But definitely still stay weather aware if you are along southeastern Texas, as a few brief spin-up tornadoes are definitely possible as we go into the overnight hours tonight and well into tomorrow and tomorrow night as well. Now moving on to damaging winds. Like I mentioned, gusty winds are obviously going to be something associated with Tropical Storm Alberto. So again, potential power outages will also be an issue, but just not the main threat. Now, storm surge is another thing. We're going to be looking at very, very minor storm surge along the coastal areas, not too far inland. So it would be a minor issue if you were exactly on the coastline. But for those folks further inland, getting into downtown Corpus Christi, you guys should be pretty good on that regard. And like I've been hammering in this whole time, heavy rain and flooding is going to be the hard hitter this time. That's why we've got that sitting between a moderate and a high risk, as even the Weather Prediction Center has recognized this threat with that moderate risk as well. But this just wraps up the AWX weather forecasting video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're feeling a little bit more prepared if you're in the path of Tropical Storm Alberto. Hopefully it stays pretty dull, pretty subdued, and doesn't make any major impacts on any areas that it landfalls on. But stay safe, stay weather aware, and you can look forward to more tropical content here from the AWX Home Weather Studio as we continue into the Atlantic and Pacific hurricane season. So stay safe, stay weather aware, and I'll have more weather forecasts coming at you soon.